Hello guys, welcome to the stream. We're here in, that's the wrong display capture. Wait, funny, changed it. Alright, let's change that there, great. Okay, and just need to do a little bit of fiddling around quickly. And, that reminds me, we need the bottom overlay turned on. That's disappeared, great. Yeah, let me just get it set up. I clearly am not ready to set this up. Rep. Sorry about this, guys. I'm positive that I don't know, something weird appears to have happened where a lot of my, overlays and things that were here are now not there. Right, I think I can copy them across from another area. Yes. Copy and paste a reference. I think it's a reference, it might not be. There we go, great. Okay, now it's working, and we can actually see the overlay in place. Obviously, it does require a bit of tweaking, so just keep that in mind. But there we go. I think that's that, isn't it? There's a slight black line right at the bottom there, very small. I think I'll just need to move the bottom overlay up ever so slightly. Oh, who knows? I don't know what's going on. I honestly don't know what's going on. But there we go. I think that's okay. I can't really move it anymore, to be honest, because of how this game does it. So we'll just do it like that. Anyway, that aside, we're all good to go now. Again, I'm just getting used to streaming in FSX again. Remember, this is the first time on this PC I have actually streamed FSX, because remember, today we were planning on flying Microsoft Flight Simulator. But to be honest, after yesterday, I don't feel like using that new game. So what we're going to do today is a comparison flight. I know, this is basically going to be me explaining why this game is still better. As you can see, we're introduced to what an A320 cockpit should look like, rather than what it looks like in the game. Look at these camera controls, guys. Much easier to understand, much easier to get around. No stupid getting locked out of cockpit cam for a start. Right, call sign today is Skyways 3902. Also, the font on my overlay is different. I don't quite know why, but again, as I said, this is the first time I've ever used any of this on my new PC. You've got to remember that. So some of it may be a little bit off at first anyway. But there we go, we're fine. We're good to go. Gatwick Grander online, so that's nice. And look at this, guys. Look, it's an actual plane, and it looks really cool. It's not going to kill us. It has top of descent. All of these things. This is why I wanted to make this video today. This stream today. Is to just literally point it out. I couldn't care less how excellent the new sim looks. If it doesn't work, there is no point. It's just not worth it. Simply, if it doesn't work, I couldn't care less. Right, we're looking for a takeoff weight today of 60.2, so that's going to be 2.22, right? And put that in there, and that's the thing, I just don't care. If we're looking at, if we're looking at this, as I said, I don't really care how bad this game looks. I've got a nice, to be fair, the UK 2000 free Gatwick scenery. On this new PC, at least, the bug isn't occurring with the texture flickering. I don't really mind. I'm just not bothered how it looks. And on this new PC, the old MSFS was getting 26 FPS. This one's getting actually something quite similar. It is rainy and things, remember, and clouds are badly optimised and things. This game isn't the best optimised. Remember, it's 32-bit as well, which means it's limited to how much RAM it can use and things like that. That all has an impact. The old... just testing my audio, because I didn't do an audio test today, and sometimes it sounds totally broken, but there we go. So from EGKK to EGPF, there it is. Right, let's go and request clearance now on 121 decimal. And notice how there's a lot less things I have to scroll through, like in real life plane, unlike in MSFS. Boom, great. So all these things need fixing. Keep this in mind, yeah? And this is not even the professional version of the Aerosoft Airbus. This is the lower spec version, yeah? Keep all this in mind. And there's nothing else online, so we're just going to get the ATIS quickly. So we have Information Kilo, runway 08 right, QNH 987. And bit of light rain, clouds 2,600 feet, temperature 1-2, no bugginess with the anti-ice today, obviously, because we're in this game. Anyway, let's go ahead and request clearance. Just check my audio is working with V-Pilot quickly. Yeah, great. So let's get underway. So we're at stand 106, information Juliet. Actually, we need to start GSX. Forget that. But GSX hasn't started. Great. This happens, doesn't it? Yeah, unfortunately that is a mild bug that we get. It's a weird bug that I have encountered with FSX quite a bit. Now, I might be able to activate GSX using FS Dream Team. However, I don't think I will be able to. I'm pretty sure it's already activated. So, yeah. It's a bug with the Coatl updater that it doesn't start. It's a strange bug. We'll just ignore that. And we'll just get on with it. We don't need ground service. This thing has a built-in pushback system, so it's not the end of the world. In fact, we can just do a straight pushback, I think. Gatwick ground, Skyways 392. Information Juliet, stand 106. Request IFR to Glasgow, please. We're gonna get anything?
Skyways 392, Gatwick ground. Hello, clear to Glasgow. Lambon 10 departure. After Lambon, Lima 10 to Bravo Papa Kilo. Then asphalt, Skok 3537.
Clear Glasgow on the Lambourne 1 Zulu departure. After Lambourne, take Lima 10 to Bravo Papa Kilo. Squawk 3537. Skyways 392.
Skyways 392, correct. QNH 987.
QNH 987. Skyways 392. 3537. I don't know why they're bothering giving me the airway. I got rid of the airway because of the altitude restrictions Simbrief was giving me. Because it doesn't make any difference. There's no waypoints on that airway, just to make it clear. But there we go, never mind, we'll just ignore that. And you can see we're putting on all our information now. Block fuel, of course, was 5.9, because we want to round it. And we can get on with our route. So, today, we're going off runway 08 right. We are taking the Lambourne 1 Zulu. And look at this magic, guys. This is the same route that we were using yesterday. Hello in the chat, hope you're enjoying the stream. Yeah, this is the very same route we plugged in yesterday. However, yesterday, remember how long it took me? It probably took me a good 10 minutes. However, look at this wizardry, guys. Ow. 10. And then straight on to UN 601 via BPK to Ribble. And that's it. That's literally it. Done. And then Hamnet, when we get to Glasgow, ILS 05 and Ribble 1 Golf. It's there. Wasn't there yesterday, was it? It's unbelievable. And then if I want to check the weather, because this sim has active sky integration, unlike the other one, I can search the weather for Glasgow right here, right now. Make my life a lot easier. Now, the winds down in Glasgow are actually 210 at 2 knots. Now, due to there being less air traffic at the moment, I can't just check flight radar. There's no ATC down there right now, so I'm out of luck on that front. I can give it a go, searching it on flight radar. I put on ground. Actually, an EasyJet landed 14 minutes ago, so let's have a little look at what runway that used. It used the northern runway, so that would be runway 02, I believe. It used the very northern one. So we'll grab a look at the ground chart quickly. And... oh, no, my mistake. That is runway 23. I don't know why I thought there was a 02. Yeah, runway 23. So they are using ILS 23 right now down in Glasgow. So there'll be ILS 23 on the Ribble 1 Golf. And I don't believe we're going to need any kind of transition, are we? There aren't even any transitions offered on this particular airport. No, apart from the Glasgow VOR. No, it's not even a very sharp turn, so we'll be able to just go straight to the VOR, the ILS, I mean. So that's great. That means everything is all in there. All the restrictions are correct, unlike the other game. Don't need to go faffing around with transit, with everything like that. This plane automatically calculates flex temp, automatically calculates RV speeds, and I don't need to put them in more than once, unlike the other plane. And it gives me my trim value, and all these pages work. Look, so amazing. Can't tell you guys enough. It kind of sums this game up, you know. I know this is a payware add-on, but this plane, right from the A318 all the way up to the A321, was £42. Plus the cost of this game, £62. The cost of Microsoft Flight Sim, £110 for the Premium Deluxe, or £60 for the base edition.
Sierra Bravo 50
So,
ready for push hard
to be
start.
fair, and the quality of the Gatwick scenery is actually better in this game because it has custom buildings.
24 Sierra
So,
Bravo stand 50,
to be
push and
fair-
start approved, face west.
It's not.
Push start approved, face
I'm not
west, and just so
complaining.
you're aware, I'm going to need to take Papa down to Juliet as I can't go along to Romeo.
But there we go, we're all ready to go then. Flight time there, 57 minutes, that's basically what we were planning today. We're just letting the APU fire
Easy
up.
2 for Sierra Bravo. We aren't able to
Units on.
take Lima along to November. We will, sorry, Romeo. We'll need to go down Papa.
Get us all set up and ready to go. Look, all the buttons work in this plane. I mean, most of them anyway. You know, remember this is the non-professional version. This is the more casual version of the Aerosoft A320. Keep that in mind. And yet still, all these buttons work, including all these little test buttons and everything. All these buttons, that button, all that.
Caution, a company Airbus
You know?
320 Neo, pushing back from Alison stand 50.
Right, auto brakes max, and they won't disengage unlike the new flight sim. And on the spoilers, that's all set up and ready to go. Alright, I believe we're ready to go. Is the APU already fired up? It is. Great, that means we can go on the APU bleed and we can turn off the external power. Parking brakes are already on, so we can get rid of all this stuff. And we can request pushback. Skyways 3902, request push and start. Just be advised we can only do a straight pushback as GSX has decided not to start this morning.
Roger, Skyways 3902 stand 106, push and start approved, face west.
Push and start approved, Skyways 3902. Just be advised we can only push straight today, GSX has not started.
Roger, straight pushback approved.
Pushback approved, Skyways 3902. Right, okay, back we go then. We're just going to do a straight pushback today. No one's in the area, so we're good to go. Yeah, that's the, you know, unfortunately GSX has not decided to start on us, but there we go. That happens very frequently. I don't know why. It's a bit of a bug. Actually, I can disconnect the jetway now, can't I? Right, and they go up, start the engines. The engines will start quicker in this plane because they do start quicker in the standard edition of the Airbus. And look, guys, a top of descent profile has been made for us. What magic is this? And the plane won't try to kill us. Right, engine 1 can fire up now because engine 2 is actually almost finished. In fact, yeah, engine 2 has finished. Obviously, it's not MSFS fault that. The Neo apparently does have very slow start-up times. But yeah, we'll just do a straight pushback today. I'm going to be steering with the yoke today. Unfortunately, the audio does mute when you switch tabs in this game, but there we go. We've pushed fully back now. We'll just hold there. Yeah, so we have to use a Shift P pushback. Now, the engines are started, I believe. Yes. That means we can get the APU off. And we can get taxi lights turned on. Everything else is looking all good up there. Do a quick status check. Everything's looking good. Takeoff config check. Everything's ready to go. I just want to check this one more time, because once we start the engines, it does slightly change what this thing thinks of its performance details. Great, okay, ready to go. Transition altitude is 6,000 here. It's been pre-put in like it should be. You know, the new game doesn't do that, but oh well. Skyways 3902 requesting taxi.
Skyways 3902, taxi, Kilo and Romeo, hold short, Juliet.
Taxi Kilo Romeo hold short Juliet. Skyways 3992. Right, away we go, and I believe this thing, even without a rudder being used, can turn quite well, and without slowing down. So there you go. And remember, yesterday I was on 40% throttle, 40% engine. Yeah, 30% engine is easily enough to get us up to 10 knots. So yeah, it suffers from the same throttle problems that the default aircraft do in FSX. But as I said, you know, I'm kind of, even though this is a payware aircraft, as I said, I got the entire bundle, A318 up to 21. For the same cost, plus the game, for the same cost as the standard edition of MSFS. So it's a fair comparison, because of the cost. I said, fair enough, this game doesn't look very good, but to be honest, above the clouds, you don't even see how the game looks. And then on top of that, whoa, this is a flight sim, not a video sim. I'm not interested in it looking exactly like the real world. It's a nice benefit, but it is a flight sim. What I care about is flying. And that's kind of the important thing. With MSFS, they've just gone all in with looks. It's a flight sim. I don't care. I want to be able to fly a plane, then I want it to look nice. Not the other way round. But we'll leave that alone. We'll just leave that. I'm going to have enough now of getting angry.
Skyways 3902, connect taxi, hold Juliet 4 via Juliet.
Hold Juliet 4 via Juliet, Skyways 3902. Right, Juliet 4 is the one right by the base of the runway, okay? So we're taxiing right down to the edge of there. From that point, we'll be handed off to Unicom, as there is no further ATC available. Right, I'll just turn onto Juliet before I do anything else. And to be fair, yeah, the UK 2000 scenery actually looks pretty decent. So, you know, I'm not complaining. Right, we'll turn on the weather radar now, because the weather radar on this isn't the best, but it works better than the one in Microsoft Flight Sim. So there we go. Right, TCAS can come on now as well. Actually, it is already on. I forgot that. It's not a bug, but it's a very weird thing where the TCAS V-Pilot doesn't send TCAS is on. I know it's on because I can see planes, but yeah, it must be something to do with how this plane communicates with V-Pilot. Causes some slight issues, but never mind. And look at that, look, we've got a nice outside view, and I can easily get to it. I can easily just jump back in as well.
Gatwick ground is 9 Yankee Victor, ready for taxi.
And yeah, I'm actually getting the same FPS as I was last night in Microsoft Flight Sim, so
Victor, taxi,
that's
Lima
nice.
and Sierra, hold short, Juliet.
Initial climb will be 5,000 on the Lambo 1 Zulu.
Easy 24 Sierra Bravo, ready for taxi.
Is it 24 Sierra Bravo? Confirm you want taxiway Papa for taxi.
Also, with Fly UK, the A320 Neo and the A320 are interchangeable, which is quite cool.
24 Sierra Bravo, taxi, Lima.
So it doesn't matter whether we're doing a flight with a Neo or non-Neo, so we can still got lots of routes to choose from, which is really good to see, really.
Papa and Juliet until
People don't want to use the new flight sim just yet, like me. But yeah, I'm pretty good now, just taxiing along nicely. Quite a long taxi here at Gatwick, obviously. We've just got to go all the way along the entirety of the runway, you know. But it's still, you know, this UK 2000 free scenery, it actually looks better than it does in Microsoft Flight Sim.
Skyways 3902, no for it. Is available. Monitor Unicom 122.8. Good day.
Unicom 122.8, Skyways 3902. Bye. Alright, over to Unicom then, where we'll be, I think, for the entire flight, if I'm honest. There's nothing else really anywhere. So we're going to be going on Juliet 4, then lining up that way. This scenery, the scenery does have it. I thought this scenery didn't have that line-up bit by Juliet 4, but I guess it does. I don't know why I thought it didn't. Like yesterday I thought it didn't when I was in Microsoft Flight Sim. I thought, hang on a minute, I've never seen this before, but obviously it's in the game, otherwise it wouldn't be showing up. Well, there we go. Yeah, we're straight up to Glasgow then. Nothing is approaching Glasgow at the moment. There's an EasyJet on the ground coming from Belfast, but nothing else. No other activity concerned. So we're looking all good, really, and we're straight up to flight level 340 after that. We're just taxiing down Juliet right now. Remember, we'll be holding at 5,000 until KKN 43, and then we'll be holding at 6,000 until Lambourne, because we have to stick to restrictions, as there is no ATC available. Right, we're just coming up to Juliet 4, sorry, now. So, this is Juliet 5, so yeah, we need to make a left turn onto Juliet 4, and then from Juliet 1, we'll then line up on runway 08 right, so that's looking all good. Just need to, so right now we're on, this is the little sort of slight turn, that's Juliet 7 off to the left, so this is Juliet 4. Gatwick traffic, Skyways 3902, approaching Juliet 4 to line up for runway 08 right for takeoff, Gatwick traffic. And we'll just check, nothing is approaching. Great, nothing is approaching Gatwick at all, so we're free to depart. So let's line ourselves up. Remember as well, because of all the payload aircraft I have bought in this game, there's a lot more choice of planes we can fly, which is cool. But there we go, right, let's line up on the runway. Yeah, I'm positive the UK 3000 Gatwick scenery did not have this, although I've never got a proper look at the UK 3000 Gatwick scenery, because remember it broke on my previous game, but it's so far on this particular PC, it's been okay. Nothing on my TCAS there, weather radar's all working, everything's all ready to go, so let's get our landing lights on, and all our lights turned on, and we're ready to get out of here. I don't think unfortunately we're not going to be able to hear anything from the cabin crew. I don't believe I actually have them turned on. This is literally the first time I've started the Aerosoft Airbus in this game, so in this particular build of the game. Remember, I'm on my new PC. So yeah. Right, there we go, we're on the runway. We're going to be doing flex 63 today, and initial power 40%. Start the clock, which MSFS doesn't have, and flex set, SRS and runway. Airspeed's coming up. .100 knots. Plane is veering side to side, you know, in V1. Rotate. And look, the plane is actually quite responsive. It's not the best, because remember I'm using a yoke, not a joystick, but there we go, I'm in the air. Positive rate. Gear up. This is what an A320 should feel like. There we go. And autopilot in. Disarm the ground spoilers. Lights off. Just check our engine out altitude 1700 feet. So we're going standard climb at 1700 feet. And there we go, up we go from Gatwick. Look at that, guys. And to be fair, it doesn't look too bad. You know, this game has proper seasons, so because, you know, well, actually there we go, we need to go thrust climb mode now. And remember, look, because it's now autumn, look at all this nice autumn scenery we've got around the place. And I'm actually on very low settings. Keep that in mind, I'm on very low settings. Yeah? And this game still actually looks fairly decent. But there we go, we're now starting to gain some speed properly now. Remember, we'll only be clear up to 5,000 initially. Need to wait for a little bit more before I can start putting in the flaps. There, I can do it now. Flaps in, and up we go. And we can go up to, remember, 5,000 feet. Transition altitude here is 6,000. All brakes manually disengage, no, automatically disengaged, that's good. And up we climb, 20 nautical miles now, and yeah, this plane's climbing pretty decently. It won't just go straight through 250 knots like a certain plane did yesterday, and hopefully when passing 20,000 feet it won't try to kill us. But there we go. Up we go then. Obviously we're on the Unicorn, no ATC now for the rest of today, I don't think. It's quite rare. And you can see there, look, the other plane went up to 260 knots. We've actually just gone over it. Remember, we are actually starting to level off, which is kind of part of that. But yeah, and it's much more responsive. We haven't really blown straight past it. We are We're about 3 knots above, and as long as the plane sticks within 5 knots, it's acceptable. 10 knots, however, 20 knots, no, that's not quite acceptable. But we're here at 5,000 now for quite a bit, because we've got no ATC to relieve our restrictions. It's very cloudy here in Gatwick at the moment, it seems. We can grab a little weather request from Active Sky, something that the, there you go, okay, that's not quite accurate, something that the new flight sim doesn't have. Obviously, you know, it is a shame as well. It's one thing I do dislike about the new flight sim. You know, instead of using, they use NavBlue, yeah, for the Navigraph database, for the Nav database. Why do you go with Navigraph? They've been around 15 years, you know, and they're well known. Same with weather. Active Sky, they've been making weather for over 10 years in flight sims. They're very well known. They're very good. Nope, they don't partner with them. It's just like, and I understand why they use Bing Maps because it's Microsoft. But still, Google Maps is better. Also, like, I can understand the Bing Maps thing. I can totally understand that. If you've got a free tool at your disposal that you're already using, there's no point in using Google Maps. That's fair. But it is, yeah, it's just one of those things. It's kind of like, a few things like this is just a little bit annoying. But yeah, we're pretty good. We've got 350 miles left to run. And we've got an active, we've actually got a pretty accurate estimated time of arrival.
Gatwick traffic, easy, 24 skin level, let up and take it off runways, you know, like.
And yeah, I love the camera in this game. This is one thing that I think the biggest disappointment about the new game for me was the camera. Like, I love pressing the spacebar and then moving about. Like, it's the same sort of principle in the new game, but it's not as flowing. It's not as easy to move around, I think, anyway. And, you know, I just don't get it, you know? Because this game is Microsoft as well. So why they didn't just use the same systems for both? It did disappoint me a little bit. I was like, hang on a minute. You've already, you know, the only thing that I think needs improving on this game is 64-bit, better scenery. Now, I would have got that with P3D. However, P3D has its own problems, like, it's £60 and you have to update it all the time. It's not particularly well optimised still, I don't believe, and it still is the effective same base package as this game, but I'd need to buy all my planes again. Like, if I was to switch to P3D, it would cost me a lot of money. However, the new flight sim, no, not quite as much. Although saying that, I haven't bought any paper aircraft for it yet because there aren't any. That's the thing. Apart from this game being 32-bit, which, to be honest, I've done 2 events now in the last month, 2 long events. Both times the virtual memory only got to 75%, 80%. So still far, and those were 8-hour events. Still far off crashing. Now today actually is quite a special day because, wait, what? I was on 998 hours. No, 999 hours. How does that make any sense? I was on 999 hours last week, so somehow my hours have gone down. I want to know how that's possible. Off crashing. Now, I would really like to know how that's possible. But there we go. And then, yeah, we'll be allowed to 6,000 soon, which I can't wait for, because we're getting chucked around in this turbulence a touch. Obviously, there are a lot of restrictions in Gatwick that we've just got to live with, unfortunately. But that's always been like that in Gatwick. We're going to switch to the... we'll keep the weather radar. Actually, I think weather radar in this plane, I believe it works, but it's in the wrong place. The weather shown is in the wrong place. But I know for a fact it works. Because it's generally pretty accurate, you know? It does, I think it is in the wrong place. Remember, this isn't the professional version of this plane. It is the less detailed version. And it's still more detailed than the new flight sim with updates on the fly-by-wire A320. And that's what I find even worse. Like, I've been using the fly-by-wire A320, which is the updated one. It's better. And the A320 is the best airliner. Like, the 787 is unflyable. The 787 gets 10 FPS no matter what graphics settings you're on. You know, I mean, and still, we're seeing London in this game. Still, I'm seeing a bridge that I would see in real life. And I'm seeing rough satellite imagery. It's not as good, but it has its own unique look. And the main part is, well, I'm flying a plane. as I said, I couldn't care less about what the ground below me looks like. I'm flying a plane. Right, up to 6,000 now, because we've got a restriction that's coming to an end up here, and then we'll be at 6,000 for another 15 miles, and then we'll be stuck there then, and then we'll just go straight up to 340 after that. It is a shame this with Gatwick, how we've got to sit here at altitudes like this, but that, you know, without ATC to pass us past these restrictions, we do have to stick to them. And then I'm just going to set 34,000 in here now for when this plane wants to climb, as soon as it can. And there we go, there's 6,000. And I think I'll get the charts for Glasgow while I'm waiting. So the River 1 Golf that is detected by this plane, unlike the new flight sim, and that's with Navigraph. That's it, the new sim has already had these updates, and it still isn't. I know, what annoyed me was that Japan update, I think. But Japan update for the new sim, you know, I don't care about Japan looking better. It's not what I wanted. I want the game to be I want the airliners to be flyable. I want there to be less bugs before they start working on content. You know, I mean, the next patch now I believe is about October the 15th, something like that. So we're going to be waiting another 2 weeks for another patch. Until then, I probably won't go near the game, really. Right, 9 miles until Lambourne, and then we'll start our climb upwards. Yeah, no ATC at the moment, unfortunately. There was a plane, actually, at... Oh, never mind, they're both in Toronto. We'll ignore that. If they're both in Toronto, that's not relevant.
Stance traffic, Ryanair.
Well, that's EGPK.
Line up and take off out of Kilo 1
We're EGPF. My mistake. No, I'm the only plane heading for EGPF then, so we've got the airport to ourselves. But only 6 miles to Lambourne, then we'll do a pretty quick climb up to 10,000 before we arrive at proper speed then. And then hopefully, passing 20,000 feet, this plane won't kill us. Yeah? That's the general idea. Now, transition altitude here at Gatwick is 6,000, so we'll go standard pressure as soon as we start climbing. The pressure is so low here today in Gatwick that we will actually gain quite a bit of altitude by doing this, which is good, you know? We'll probably get about 1,000 feet just by setting the pressure, so that's kind of balances out the restrictions in a way. See there, it's looking quite nice round here. Right, we're approaching Lambourne then. We can go, well, we'll wait until we tick off Lambourne. Then we can finally start climbing at last, which is good. That's what we want. Start climbing. Right, there is Lambourne, just about to pass that now. And there we go. Right, we should have passed it by now. Yes. There. So now, we're going to start climbing. We're going to set standard pressure. But yeah, that has gained us 800 feet, so quite a large amount. And then up we go, and then we're going to slow down at 10,000, because we have to, obviously, go to 250 knots. Remember? And then we should get a fair amount of time at flight level 340, because remember it took us quite a while to climb yesterday.
Traffic speed bird 268
in the Neo.
Richard, stay in 508, pushing back and starting up.
And there we go, so it'll be a very quick climb look, but still the Airbus limits itself to 4,000 feet per minute. In the new flight sim right now, there is no such thing. In fact, Asobo decided that their autopilot was so stable to increase the number to 8,500 feet per minute. I think that's what's caused the bug with the A320, if I'm honest. I don't understand where the decision for that came from, but it was in the changelog, and that's how I read it. And this is why we're struggling to climb in the A320 Neo. At this stage, the Neo thought we should be doing 320 knots. Yeah, 294 knots sounds more correct. That allows us to do a much better climb. Same cost index, remember, cost index 25. Although I'm not totally sure whether cost index actually works in the new sim. I'm not 100% on that. doesn't feel like it really does anything when you change the cost index, so when you're at cruise, it doesn't change your cruise speed. But yeah, this lower speed that it's trying to hit is allowing us to climb much quicker, therefore more efficient, obviously. And we're leaving the very thick cloud. This is what I mean though, like, the cloud is so thick we can't even see the ground anyway. So who cares what it looks like? I can just see cloud. And the cloud looks nice, because we're using active sky. You know, it's just... it's kind of... fair enough. But yeah, never mind. And actually, we passed through some clouds, guys, in some cold temperature, and look, no ice. Just as it should be. And if we want to, there is some anti-ice. However, we probably won't need it. It's just unbelievable. But never mind. Right, up we climb then. And we should be reaching sort of climb around Leicester, and then we're going to get plenty of time before we start our descent. So that's nice. And no ATC at all. No ATC whatsoever to speak of. So we can just continue to chill out. Right now I'm getting only 30 FPS to be fair, but I'm still within the region of Heathrow. And this plane doesn't, oh here you go, this is why. I'll turn it down to 30 miles range. That should hopefully turn down the amount of planes we have to deal with later on. But you can see that we're already at 18,000 feet, so this thing's done a pretty good job of climbing. And we're still maintaining a pretty decent level of climb, like the real aircraft would. And like what was happening, I mean, right, at this point now, at this exact point in Microsoft Flight Sim, the plane thought we were doing 0 knots and tried to kill us twice on the climb. And then it did kill us on the descent. Keep that in mind. It's unbelievable, you know. I just don't take this as I hate the new Flight Sim. It needs a lot of work. The airliners were released far too early, in my opinion. Like, look at the quality of the TBM. If all the airliners were the quality of the TBM, I'd be happy. Most things clickable. No dodgy autopilot. Fair enough, it doesn't have a VNAV system, but you could overlook that because that's only a very small thing that can be coded in. However, you look at the airliners, in fact, the 787 is the very worst. The 787 doesn't even have 2 FMCs that you can click. I mean, like, come on. That's FSX levels of basicness. Not having 2 FMCs. It's like... it's not good. And then obviously the flight model itself is very poor. And also the FPS. The FPS is probably the worst part about the new Flight Sim. As soon as you jump into a 787 or a 747, it's lag city. It's just not good. And Sydney, New York, all those big cities, they seem to lag quite a bit. No matter what sort of PC you have. And apparently people have discovered if you keep the game running for more than 4 hours, the performance starts to drop like mad. Like at the start of an 8-hour flight, it's running 60 FPS. By the end of it, it's running like 15, 20. People have discovered that. So you say FSX can't do 8-hour flights because of its virtual memory. Well, that's the same issue on Microsoft Flight Sim, just not with virtual memory. It's a memory issue of some kind, I think, but it's the same sort of thing. Actually, let's turn off the seatbelt signs. Let's let everyone behind roam around now. I think it's time to let them do that, isn't it? And let's go ahead and tune the sound settings so we can hear our wonderful cabin crew, because they make it's quite nice to hear them, really. So options, sound, cabin crew on. They're the only ones I like on, and of course the GPWS, obviously, and then we'll keep all that as the same. And there's the lovely sounding cabin crew going off. Now, I've just passed Luton Airport. There's actually 10 planes on the ground in Heathrow despite no ATC, so that kind of says something, doesn't it? And looking around, I don't think anyone is using the new flight sim because of the planes that are being used. You can tell by the planes being used that they're not... Someone's got a Concorde going from Billund to Heathrow. I'm sorry, but what? That's hilarious. That's great. Right, and there you go. We can see there's our top of climb, right by Leicester. Which is actually, as I said, still, we reached our top of climb in the A320 Neo at around, you know, Simbrief thinks we should get around there, but we actually reached it around Zappos. That's how bad the climbing performance was of the plane. It was around Bolby, around Zappos. I think it was around Zappos, and that was ignoring the restrictions. Remember, we got given straight to flight level 190. It's disappointing, really, that this flight sim is like that, but what can you do, I guess? So according to Simbrief, look, we should be at top of climb just after a Botto. Now, remember, that is without restrictions. This game thinks we should be leaving Lambourne at flight level 260, which is obviously wrong. Very obviously wrong, because it's a restriction of 6,000 at Lambourne. Right, let's actually start getting our approach stuff configured. And you can see here, look, Barrow and radio. That's what it should look like, rather than on FSX, MSFS, which is not what it looked like. So 221 is the Barrow. Now, we're not going to have sloped runways, that's a little bit of a shame, but apart from that, there's nothing else that's really a shame. Winds are now variable at 2 knots, so I have no idea what runway they're using, if I'm honest. I have no clue. I can check again on flight radar. Now, no one's really in the area. Okay, there's a number of planes taxiing out of Glasgow at the moment, and they're all taxiing out to runway 23. There's a plane on final from Birmingham. That's coming into runway 23 as well, so that's good. So we're using 23. Winds are 0 at 2 knots. 7 degrees. QNH is 9 at 8. And that's that. Oh yeah, transition altitude is, well, 6,000. So it's 7,000 because it's 6,000 and add 1,000 for the fact that we're landing and the QNH. And then we get our stuff all sorted out. Great. So that means we're all good there. We've only got 5,000 feet left now. Yeah, the weather radar is slightly bugged still in this particular game as well. It's not any better. But to be fair, as I said, in MSFS there is no weather radar either. At least the weather radar on this works like a weather radar. It's actually just a picture in the new flight sim, so I'm not complaining too much. And as I said, the reason I'm making these comparisons as well is literally, as I said, this plane, A318 2021 plus FSX, £62. Standard edition of MSFS, £60. Pretty much, you know, if you round it, you know, even it's basically within £2 the same cost. And if you want the Premium Deluxe edition, it's I could actually get another plane for that, and it would only be £10 cheaper to get MSFS. You know, I could buy the PNDG 737 and have, it'd only be £10 more, and it kind of shows that, you know, it's just makes you wonder. But yeah, we have got Glasgow to ourselves, so that's nice. That means that we should have no problem with runways in any way, no matter what we're using. No ATC, unfortunately, but as I said, it's early morning, so quite often there is no... quite frequently there is no... what's it called? There is no... I don't know what's it called. Yeah, quite frequently there is no... I don't know what I'm going to say. Alright, just forget about that. But yeah, okay, the plane just went into map mode, look. We're being rocked around a little bit. Obviously some turbulence. And to be fair, look, now it's autumn. Look, we can see all the nice orange colour on the ground. So that's simulated. So I'm not complaining, you know. I mean, it's not MSFS levels of detail. I'm getting 30 FPS. The FPS, I don't know why. I think that's what I'm going to say actually. The FPS is lower than I would expect. On my other PC that has worse specs than this, I get better FPS than this. So I don't quite know what that is, but maybe it's something to do with. I think it might be something to do else, but yes, there you go. We're almost at cruise altitude now. We'll have a little bit of time to chill out at cruise then. Getting nice tailwinds again, that's really good. And we'll get to know then how long we have at top of descent. Because remember, this plane calculates top of descent. They go 108 miles, so we have about, what, 10 minutes? Yeah, 13 minutes to just chill at flight level 340. Plane hasn't tried to kill us once, which is a bonus. And I can look outside nice and quickly, get straight back into the cockpit. Can't do that in the new game because we'll end up with problems. And we also have more camera angles. You know, again, this is one thing I haven't quite mentioned really, but where's this camera angle in the new flights then? Where is it? Where's this camera angle? You know, like all these camera angles that are missing. Where have they gone? If you look at the views, I can't right click because I don't like doing that in this game. But look, if you look at, you can see all the towers, you can zoom in on runways, you can look at other planes. That's missing in this game. If we had a look, there is a Jet 2, someone on Vatsim, look, going about their business. And it's just really good, you know? It's really, really good. Right, let's go. How do I get rid of that view? There was a way to close a view, but I'm being really dumb now. And I can't remember. Oh. There. And it just kind of shows, you know, it's like, I can have more than one view open at once, like, can't do that in MSFS, can I? You know, if I wanted to, I could open a view of my wing and watch my wing while I landed. And I'd be able to do that. There's a replay mode in this game. The new sim doesn't have a replay mode, you know, it's just these little features that really, they do make a difference. And for some reason, over 14 years of, 16 years, I think it's 14 actually, yeah, 14 years of progress from FSX to the new game, somehow these things have just gone missing. All of these little camera angles, these little replays, they've all gone missing. Where? I don't know. But they're not there anymore. It's just, why do I care about how the game looks if it's not any good outside of that? And that's kind of my conclusion on this new game. If you want to just do some VFR flying and you want to look at the scenery and you're not interested in flying really a difficult plane, you just want to look at the scenery, that game's awesome. But if you actually want to fly an airliner and you want to fly on Vatsim and you want to look at how your landings were, forget the new game, go with this one. Or P3D is probably your best option, to be honest. Just unfortunately for me, I can't go with this P3D because it would cost me so much money. And by the time I actually got P3D, because that's the thing, the new flight sim, give it a year, it will be better. It will have payware aircraft that people have developed. But until then, until that payware aircraft moment, until the A320 Neo fly-by-wire is upgraded, until the game is more optimised, until the game doesn't try to kill you, it's not worth it. But there you go, that's my opinion over and done with now. We can just chill out now and head to Glasgow. So we are going to be descending in still quite a while, I should think, at 80 miles. Once we're descending, we'll just check my We'll actually just check, yeah, the restrictions. Obviously, same approach as yesterday, so nothing unusual there. Flight level 200 at DG, 260 at Aslib, 250 knots, 70 and 230 knots at Lanark. Oh, my mistake, I forget, yeah, the new sim doesn't have discontinuities either, so I'm not used to deleting those. That's actually another thing that I didn't quite pick up on until I just saw it then. Yeah, the new sim doesn't have any kind of discontinuity system. Which, actually thinking about it, is maybe a little bit silly, because again, it's a very basic feature that really should be in the game, in the FMCs, but there we go, we'll just ignore that. I think we've been mean enough to the new game now, we can chill out with it. I said, although this was kind of the point of this stream, really, it was to highlight, well, I did this flight yesterday, in the new game, and I'm doing this flight now in the old game. Here's what's different. Same price, standard edition, this is what you get for your money. Fair enough, you know, Active Sky, I think you need Active Sky, but the reason I'm using Active Sky is because this game is so old, the live weather doesn't work anymore. Obviously, they're not going to put money into maintaining live weather service when not many people play it. It's old, it's not supported, fair enough. But when this game came out, it did have live weather. It did have an accurate nav database. You've got to remember all that, you know, even though the new sim has that, once upon a time, this sim did have that. Microsoft themselves have said they're only going to support the new sim for about 10 years. If this game's 14 years old, it's outside of that 10 years. So it's fair enough. Yeah, no one's going to support a game for 14 years, realistically. You know, no one's going to really do that, so I don't mind. It's just that it's that it had it once upon a time. It had it to start with. That's kind of the important thing. And the live weather does still work. It's just live weather from when it last worked, which was ages ago. So it's like 10 years old. But if you want to look where it was 10 years ago, then it works. The live weather is still in the game, just not quite as accurate. And that's an Active Sky, really. It's what, £30 I think, for one PC? Again, still not the cost of Premium Deluxe Microsoft Flight Sim. But yeah, the weather down in Glasgow, it is raining now actually. It's overcast at 12,000 feet, so we've got a little bit of a quite high level cloud, but nothing else to worry about. Oh yeah, and the lights, this plane does have proper lighting in this game as well, just like the real life plane and whatever. Right, 54 miles left to run. Yeah, it's a shame GSX wasn't working. What it is, the solution is to run the GSX Live Updater. I just haven't done that. Quite simply. Okay, one thing I will have to check actually, I will just check it now. I don't remember whether I've assigned reverses to this thing yet. Right, decrease. Right, throttle, and then in brackets decrease. We're looking for a button on my throttle axis to be doing that. I can't remember. I was just remembering now. I was thinking about auto brakes. I was thinking, hang on a minute. Have I got reversers? Guess I have. Great. Just important to know. That's all. Otherwise, we'll land and I'll have no reversers. I mean, we can land without reversers. It's just not as good. So yeah, just good to know. It's something important to take in mind. But it's fine. But yeah, Nelsa is now 2 miles away. We're going to be descending quite soon, I think. We're actually on to the, yeah, we're on the arrival now. Now, I started descending just after Niska in the A320 Neo, and you can see, yeah, that this thing plans it a lot better than me. We can descend later. Nothing interesting now about the arrival. Nothing really important. We all know what I all got the procedures incorrectly, so we're all fine. Know what we're doing, great. There's a total descent marker, look, on there. Look at that, look how amazing it is, guys. There's a total descent marker. We actually have top of descent with a VNAV profile. There'll be a little pink, purple dot that the plane will follow. Like in real life. How can I say we missed that out? I mean, sorry. And the plane won't try to kill us at 20,000 feet. And right now we're out of London's airspace. I'm actually getting about 35-40 FPS. Same as what I'll be getting in the new sim. It's very smooth. And we've got lots of cloud as well. If it wasn't cloudy, the FPS would be a lot better. And remember, this game, I'm actually on 14% CPU right now, so that's also something to factor in. You know, my CPU is being used a little bit. Also, guys, I hope you are enjoying the stream. Be sure to smash that like button and subscribe to the channel if you are enjoying. We're up to 125 subs now. Thank you, guys. Oh,
hello, Captain. Would you like some coffee?
And there's another little touch that the new sim doesn't have. I actually really like that. It's just cool. You know, I personally think that's quite cool. The air stuff added that in. I quite like it. Right, but it's heading just under 20 miles now. 17 miles. Sounds good. We'll have to initiate the descent ourselves in the Airbus. We're only 130 miles away. It's going to be a bit of a late descent because of the restriction at a DG. How it is. Looking at our arrival, we're all set to go. We had some weather through yet? No, we haven't just yet. There'll probably be some weather in about 10 minutes, I should think. Right, 10 miles until the descent, and then we'll be down to Glasgow Airport. Glasgow Prestwick International. Wait, no, it's not Glasgow Prestwick, sorry, it's just Glasgow. I get confused. It's just Glasgow, not Glasgow Prestwick. This one's literally just called Glasgow International. Remember, stands 14 to 18. We are using the UK 2000 free scenery for Glasgow. So that's nice. All good. But that's the thing, I mean, it's actually looking quite nice down there, you know? I mean, that is, down there, that is quite close to Ambleside and all that. Carlisle should be up here a little bit, around there. Looking at Navigraph. Right, time to descend then, guys. We actually have a top of descent, I don't have to do this myself. Right, about there, I should think. Perfect, actually, we just hit the purple dot. And then that'll guide us to our descent path, that little pink dot. Pink or purple? I think that's pink. Yeah, pink. See there, a bit of a steep descent, and we catch up with our descent path, and we start to slow off. Maybe I did activate it slightly late, but there we go. Down we go. Getting a very steady 35 FPS right now, which is pretty decent considering all the cloud in the area. There's a lot of cloud, so that's really nice. Because remember, one thing with FSX, the clouds aren't particularly well optimised, but the rest of that is fine. I don't know what to do with that black line though, like surrounding the desktop capture though, like not, it's like slightly around the place. I don't quite know what to do about that. I'll have to have a look at the end of the stream. It's not a massive line, like it's not really massively noticeable. If I look at it on my monitor, it just looks fine. But yeah. Right, we're descending down now quite nicely, just literally bang in time to meet flight level 260 ASLib. Plane doing quite a steep descent, obviously because of our cost index, and all that's beneficial to us to have the best descent rate. Hello in the chat, hope you're enjoying the stream. Back in FSX today, and the plane hasn't tried to kill us, so there we go. There's proof enough that this game's better than the new flight sim. Here it is. As I said, this payload aircraft plus the cost of FSX is actually the same as the standard edition. In fact, I will just check what is the price of this game now. I'm wondering whether it might have dropped even more since I bought it. There's no way of me checking actually, we'll just leave that. And there's flight level 260. So now we can go down to 70, which is not the next restriction, but the restriction after that. And that'll allow it. We'll do quite a slow descent now for a little bit. Because we've got over 20 miles just to cover 6,000 feet, so this thing's going to want a slow descent to be nice and efficient. And we've got 90 miles left to run, so we're looking pretty nice at the moment. Oh yeah, and this game has contrails. Yeah, that's another thing I mentioned as well. The new game doesn't have contrails. Like, all this thing about this game looking so excellent, it doesn't have contrails. Sorry, but it's like, contrails are what make a plane look like it's flying fast and cool. I guess I found one aspect where this game looks better than the new flight sim. Didn't think that was possible, but there it is. Yeah, down we go then. Very slow descent. Well, they're saying that it's still not massively slow. It's still a fairly decent descent rate. Obviously, I'm not having to calculate any of this myself, because this plane is like real life. It can do it itself. Right, so look at the weather. Still no new weather. Okay, Atlantic Sky is always a bit slow to update, unfortunately, but it does depend on the airport. Sometimes it's very quick to update. It does depend. Now I've got nothing heading to Glasgow or anything. We've got Glasgow entirely to our south, which is quite nice. It was doing quite a slow descent down, look, just 1,600 feet per minute. Quite nice. Oh, yeah, and also with this game as well, I can have my overlay fully working, which is nice for streams. I can have an overlay. You know, Sim Toolkit Pro doesn't provide the same quality of overlay, and unless you know CSS, you can't edit it yourself. So really, only this overlay here is kind of really professional looking, but quite easy to use still. So sadly, that doesn't work in the new sim. I don't think it will, because it hasn't been updated in 8 months. It's not really supported, which is a shame, really. But never mind. Right, I think we're going to be doing quite a steep descent now, because we've got 40 miles to drop 13,000 feet. Actually, saying that's about the same as the previous restriction. Now, transition altitude here, transition level, I'm using 7,000 today, because it's 6,000 then plus 1,000 for the QNH difference. Maybe it should be plus 2,000 really for the QNH difference, but never mind. I got them to totally go off. But yeah, QNH is 909 at 8 at the moment. And you see that this thing has timed it absolutely perfectly. We're just reaching 20,000 just as we pass a DG, and then we'll be allowed to descend further. So that's nice. We're just about to pass a DG, there it is. And then this thing's going to start a bit of a steeper descent now, I think. We've got 13,000 feet to descend, and we've only got 35 miles. We're already 67 miles away from Glasgow now, it's not far. However, saying that, it looks like the descent rate is actually starting to relax a bit more now, I think. We're still doing, we're doing about maybe 2,800 feet per minute, something like that. It's still quite a strong descent rate. But it's kind of average, really, you know. I mean, that's just how the procedure is, really. Then from Lanark, we're going to be going direct then to the ILS. From Lanark, it's just easier. We could have gone to the Glasgow VOR, but that still would have meant a bunch of turning anyway, so it's fine. Fixed seatbelts need to come on quite soon, because we are going to have to slow down at Vappy. We're going to go down to 20 nautical mile range now. But we would have had to slow down by Vappy anyway, so it's kind of fine. Oh, look outside, look at that. I mean, you can barely see how this game looks because it's so cloudy. And that's what I mean about the game looking like... Oh, there you go. Actually, the weather's just changed down in Glasgow. Now, we won't be able to change our runway now because we're already quite set on what we're doing. It's only a 4-knot wind, to be fair, so generally it won't matter. 4 knots is 4 knots. In fact, actually, they are still using runway 23 down in Glasgow, so it's fine. But it's 090 at 4 knots. The wind, and QNH is still the same. Temperature is now 8 degrees. We've got clouds pretty much mostly clear below 20,000 feet. That's pretty accurate. Mostly clear below 20,000. Looking nice. Right, we need to start slowing down now, actually. So I'll get the speed brakes out, because we are having a few issues here, what with the steep descent rate and having to slow down. Right, 14,000 feet, let's get the seatbelt signs on now. Ready for landing. And there you go, look. I mean, I don't know why the plane's moaning at us, because we need to slow down some more, but this plane does that sometimes. There you go, it's starting to slow down now. I don't know why the plane does get a bit cross as us. But sooner or later we will have to slow down to 250 knots. So we would have had to do that at 10,000 feet anyway, so the plane would have planned that into its VNAV. Unlike the new game, which doesn't plan it into its VNAV until it's already past 10,000 feet. I know that sounds kind of pointless, but it's true. Right, and there you go, look, you can see there it's just backed off right away, allowing us to slow down, which is great. Even if we can't slow it down all the way, it's still better than nothing. You can see we're basically by 10,000 feet anyway, so it's fair enough. This thing insists that it doesn't need a speed brake to manage itself. Okay, I'll take the plane's word for it. For now. For now. Anyway. There we go. Yeah, landing lights in 2,000 feet. Then we're going to go from Lanark, basically direct onto the ILS, and a little left turn. And we should pick up the glide slope at 2,900 at 8.9 DME from the localizer, which is on 110.1. Yep, that means the plane has put it in correctly. the Airbus does put in frequencies for you. Sometimes it does get them wrong, however, so they do require a little bit of tweaking, but overall pretty decent. And we can now start descending. Now remember, the descent rate will suddenly just drop below like, around 11,000 feet, because this thing thinks we should be slowing down at that point, but obviously we've already slowed down. However, it's still built into the plane's coding. Right, line lights can come on now. Right, we are going a little bit quickly, so I think I'm going to ignore the plane's protests that we don't need speed brakes. We do. And yeah, so we don't have to descend too much. I think we're just maybe a couple hundred feet above. We're still doing alright. In fact, actually, it isn't complaining to us right now, so we're alright. A little bit of cloud, but not too bad. Well, it's quite nice, really. And we'll be going QNH 9 and 9 at 8, so quite a low QNH. Not quite as low as in Gatwick, but we'll still be dropping a good couple of hundred feet when we apply it. And then we're going to need to go 230 knots now at Lanark. I think we're just loading the airport in there. That little freeze. See there, we're 3 miles from Lanark. We're just reaching 7,000 now. I'm going to go ahead and go standard pressure now, I think. 998. And this can now go down to 2,900, which is our ILS altitude. And then go around altitude, which is one thing we also need, is go around altitude. Is 3,000. Okay. And we're just passing Lanark, and then we'll be able to descend a bit further. It'll be quite a slow descent, I think. So we've got 20 miles to descend, you know, a good couple of, you know, just, what, 5,000 feet, so it's not massive. Actually, it's 4,000 feet, I think, yeah. Maths for the win. And they go, there's the rain, there's the British rain. Now, I wish that the rain would stick to the windscreen, however, I discovered in the new flight sim, if you're on low-end settings, you don't get rain on the windscreen. And if you're on medium, they're not the best. So, to be fair, actually, again, I think no matter what settings you set in this game, I can't seem to get weather to appear. To be fair, again, in real life, you know, I think, unless you're on the ground, rain doesn't affect the plane windscreen quite as much, because it does get, obviously with the speed that planes travel and how aerodynamic they are, all the rain gets shoved off the windscreen anyway, and it looks more like this. If you're sitting in the window of a plane, you'll just see the odd raindrop just fly by like this. Maybe slightly more detailed than that, but it's how you'll see it. When the plane, obviously when you're on the ground, it's a different matter, but there we go. And there is Glasgow down there. We've got the nice city of Glasgow looking pretty decent there. Got a nice little river running through it. A couple of nice little buildings. Not the most detailed, but better than nothing. And that's the thing, I mean, yes, Microsoft Flight Simulator would look gorgeous right now, but I wouldn't have seen this. In Microsoft Flight Sim, I didn't get to see Glasgow, because the plane thought I was doing 0 knots and decided to dive towards the Earth, and no amount of disengaging the autopilot would help. I mean, who cares what the destination looks like? If you can't get to the destination, what's the point? It's kind of makes it useless in a way, you know? Outside's looking lovely. Alright, I've got another 2,000 feet to drop now. Go 10 knots now. 10 knots come up. No, get 10 knots come our range. Right, how long's the runway? The runway is 9,000 feet, so I think we can afford low water brakes, especially considering where the domestic pier is. I want to be taking the fast exit taxiway on Delta, preferably. That's where I want to be descending. Which, if I measure, is about 3,000 feet. Is that on my notebook? That area on my notebook. So 3,000 feet. It's about maybe 5,500, 6,000. Actually, there is a bit of a runway displaced threshold, so we'll use auto brakes medium. I didn't see the displaced threshold. There's actually quite a sizable one, so we'll do that. Anyway, let's go back to the RMS approach then. Time to start slowing down now. So we'll go flaps 1. Can engage the landing systems now as well. There's Glasgow out the window. I need a few screenshots because I accidentally didn't port over all my screenshots from the old game onto my new PC. That was my mistake. I meant to do it, but I covered a bunch of files and just forgot those ones. I remembered my documents folder, just forgot my pictures folder. So that's my own fault. But oh well. Never mind. We'll just ignore that. Right, we're only 4 miles from the ILS now. I think we're going to wait to intercept it a little bit. Well, we have got the glide slope pretty perfectly right now. We're just going to flaps 1 for now. I don't want to slow down anymore. We're still 16 miles out, so fine. Right, 3 miles to the approach, and we'll make a left turn. It looks quite similar to Manchester actually, this approach with the hills. The sort of terrain, you know. Right, we're 2.5 miles now, so we'll enable approach mode now, and you can see there that this thing's got the localizer straight away, and that means we can do the turn a little bit better. At FF23, that's where the glide slope starts. So it's quite important to know. Right, let's go approach speed now. So initially it's going to be 170 knots and flaps 2. Final approach speed we'll do a little bit later on. There's no speed restrictions, but that's just how I like to do it. We're on the spoilers now as well for landing. And then we'll slow it down a bit more. And we can go... Well, how far are we now? We are 12 miles out, so still a little bit away. You go at 11 DME. We're looking for 8.9 DME on the glide slope. And we should see UK 2000 Glasgow come into view. There it is. Excellent. Excellent. And there's 2,900 feet. We're waiting for the glide slope now. And yeah, we're just waiting for the glide slope to come in. And then I'll set 3,000 on the go around altitude. So there's our glide slope. We're just waiting to pass FF23, which is where the glide slope starts at 2,900 feet, or 8.9 DME, so we're still a little bit off just yet. There's 9.1, so pretty much exact. We're now on the glide slope, captured it at 9 miles out. 3,000 and, right, flaps full. I'm not going to bother slowing down just yet to final approach speed. Final approach speed is 132. And there we go. I mean, to be fair, look at all these buildings and the lakes and everything. It actually looks quite nice. And we have working pappy lights and all that stuff. Right, 8 miles out. Final approach, actually no, not quite final approach speed. We'll wait until 5 miles out for all that stuff. 5 miles out. Glasgow traffic, Skyways 3902, runway 23 on final. Glasgow traffic. Don't really know why I'm actually advising on Glasgow traffic, because there's no plane associated with Glasgow now on the network. Not a single one. But there we go. Right, there's 6 miles out. We'll drop the gear. And final approach speed is set. 5.5 miles out. And landing checklist, everything is all looking good. 132 is a bit low for an approach speed, no? We're right at the edge of the speed there. Okay. Anyway, right, disengage the autopilot. And we're good to go. This plane feeling much nicer to fly than the A320 in the new sim. We'll be quite gentle with it. You know, the control inputs aren't the best.
1,000.
That isn't down to the game, it's down to the fact I don't have a joystick. I'm using a yoke. Joystick's on the PC. But there you go, we can see UK 2000 Glasgow come into view. We'll be landing on runway 23, vacating hopefully on Delta. If not, it'll be Echo, but I would rather Delta if I'm honest. Makes for a lot shorter taxi, and also it's a quick exit taxiway as well, so we won't have to slow down quite as much. We're a little bit high. Didn't quite realise that. Again, the physics, I'm going to have to get used to the physics. This will probably be quite a rough landing. In the new game, the A320 Neo has such poor physics that you can practically just leave it alone and it just descends like mad automatically. The descent rate is broken. Totally broken. It shouldn't be like that if I'm honest, but never mind. We're actually catching back up now anyway, so we're alright. We're still a mile and a half out, so we've got time to correct. Should see the pappy lights starting to come back to normal now. There's UK 2000 Glasgow. You can see the ground terrain actually looking quite nice. The rain has actually stopped, but actually no, the rain hasn't stopped. It just looks like it has in this camera view. And then there's a bit of a display threshold. We want to go right on the touchdown zone.
500.
Now this won't be a very smooth landing. I'm warning you now. I have not been used to flying this plane for a little bit of time yet.
300.
But it feels a whole lot
100
nicer
above.
than the new game though. A whole lot nicer.
200.
There's minimums.
Minimum.
Continue.
100. 70, 60, 50, 40, 30,
Idle
20,
power.
retard, 10, 5.
Actually, that was a pretty impressive landing. And 80 knots. Reverses in. And we can just reach the quick... That's a quick exit taxiway for you. Stop the clock there. 1 hour on the clock. Yeah, that's quick exit for you. To be fair, this doesn't look like UK 2000. Maybe it's a bit of a mix, I don't know. Anyway, right, disarm spoilers, flaps in, and let's taxi to the gate. Hello and welcome everyone to Glasgow. We have made it successfully. That was a fairly nice landing, considering I have not flown that plane in a long time. Right, on go is the APU. We're not going to have GSX, unfortunately. I forgot to run the updater before we started, so therefore they didn't start. They must have needed an update or something. I also changed the config file since I last used the sim. I think that's what does it. When you change the config file, I think it might mess it up slightly. That was a lovely landing, I have to be honest. And there we go. Hello and welcome everyone to Glasgow International Airport. We're going to taxi down Golf now to the far side of the domestic pier. From there, we'll make a little right turn onto the stand. We're going to be taking stand. Why haven't I bookmarked the stands? We're going to be taking stand 18. It's the first one we see that's part of the straight line. That's stand 20 off to our right there. And then that's stand 19. We're looking for stand 18. So this scenery all up to date then, which is great. Great to see, very nice. And in the right place as well, so that's good. And this scenery, you know, it is actually Microsoft Flight Sim quality, really. This particular scenery. Anyway, we'll make a right turn then onto Lima. And then from there, it's basically just straight ahead. It'll be the first straight stand, so a right turn here. That's, in fact, actually an EasyJet just spawned in right there. That's pretty good, wasn't it? Pretty nice. And then we'll make a right turn onto the stand. So unfortunately we're not going to have any kind of ground crew, but you know, it's not the end of the world. It doesn't really matter. This scenery is looking nice, and it's in the right place. And there we go, we'll just taxi straight ahead now. So Marshall uses the camera. And then we want to basically overshoot it slightly. So we're about there. And there we go. APU should be fired up and ready. It is. So engines can come off. TCAS off. Engine 2 off. Engine 1 off. And there we go. Hello and welcome everybody to Glasgow. It's been a pretty good flight. There's the PT barking away. We can go ahead and get the fuel pumps off now as well. And the lights as well. Beacon light off. Nav and logo stays on, but the strobe comes off as well. And we want to head to ground connections, traffic cones, wheel chocks, parking brakes off, and external power. I'm not going to bother with any doors because we haven't got any GSX. External power on, APU off, all the gens and the packs off, and that is it, guys. Hope everyone really enjoyed it. Let's get rid of the landing system and the flight director and all of that. Get it all set back to standard. Excellent. There it is. There we are. There's an easy jet that spawned in. I don't know where's that going. It's going. Oh, it's going to Gatwick. What do you know? Actually, an A320 Neo. So I think that might be using the new flight sim. It could also be using X-Plane. There is an A320 Neo for X-Plane. And I think P3D might have one as well. So to be fair, it's not a guarantee that you're in Microsoft Flight Sim. Although looking at the way that plane is parked straight ahead, it wouldn't surprise me if it was Microsoft Flight Sim. Because Microsoft Flight Sim, the parking positions in airports is rubbish. Really bad. If you look at, what do you call it? I've actually forgotten. If you look at like Gatwick Airport, the stand numbers and the stand positions are totally wrong. They're very bad. You know, it's like having default scenery, which it is. Instead of being in the wrong place, it's just named incorrectly. It's just as bad, really. Because with this game, you can tell where your stand is exactly if you know what it's called and you have GSX running. Why does it sound like that? Why does that plane have its engines running? And why does it sound like that? It doesn't sound like a typical plane, typical AI plane. I think it started raining again. Interesting. Anyway, we're all finished with. That's it, guys. I hope you guys really enjoyed today's video stream. And I will see you in the next one. And I'm just going to go ahead and stop recording on Fly UK Skytrack. And disconnect from the network. I hope everybody has really enjoyed today's stream, really. I mean, as I said, really, compare it to yesterday. We had an easier time of setting the plane up. It didn't try to kill us once. It didn't overspeed to 250 knots. Well, the Gatwick scenery gates were accurate. They looked just as nice because I was using UK 2000's very nicely provided free scenery. And even without GSX, we managed to get pushed back pretty nicely without having to communicate with air traffic control over every single little thing that takes 20 seconds each time you want to request something. And I was able to go between all my views instantly, like this. Check this out. Look how quick that is. It's amazing. Wait, is that my engines making that sound? Shouldn't be. Okay. Oh, my engines weren't... Wait, okay, I don't know what's going on with the sound then. Maybe a slight bug. Actually, is it the ground power unit? I think it's the ground power unit. But anyway, guys, thank you so much for watching. I will leave you with the background music. Next week, we'll be doing some more streams. I'm just going to be sticking to FSX from now on until the fly-by-wire A320 is flyable, until PMDG get their 737 out, things like that. Until one of those things happens, I can't continue to use the new flight sim. We've proven today that this flight sim is still 100% flyable and 100% fun. Because I've had great fun flying today. We did a good landing and we had no issues at all. So I hope you guys really enjoyed this flight and I hope to see you in the next one. And I'll leave you with the background music and the end screen. Bye-bye!